Edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, maybe a glass of iced tea, and remember to grab a pen and paper because we're always efforting to bring you important information that you can use and share with others. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. All y'all know me. I'm Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran, a retired legal advocate for veterans, and founder of AVET Project. But you also know, all you regular listeners, that I never fly through the airwaves alone.
Good morning, I'm Glenn McGuffey. I'm retired Air Force and retired as the manager of the Brevard County Veteran Services team. And as usual, we got a great, very interesting show for you today. And please don't forget, get a pen and piece of paper handy because we put out things like web addresses and phone numbers that are very, very important. And we want you... to make it work for you, we want you to be able to get it down and be able to use it.
That's a fact. Hey, folks, we got a really, really big show for you today. So let's get started with a Bosuns call. On the line with us right now is your commander, B. Perry of the U.S. Coast Guard Station, Port Canaveral. Commander, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
First off, just want to say happy birthday to the Army, 239 years.
Woohoo! Hoo-ah!
Happy birthday.
There's a big hoo-ah for the Army.
And I got some interesting information about the Army. We actually worked with them yesterday. They helped us save somebody that was in distress offshore.
Oh, really? The Army, the Coast Guard and the Army getting together. Tell us about that.
We had yesterday, as you know, the storms rolled in, so we had a call came into our watch standard that there was a 24-foot pleasure craft offshore, lost power, and of course when the storm came, he was getting beat up a little bit, and there happened to be an Army vessel out there in the area, so they picked up the boater and turned him over to us. We went out there, picked him up, got him to safety, and it was good teamwork with those guys. And a lot of people don't know that the Army has boats. I mean, who would think of that, right?
Well, I certainly hadn't. I hadn't.
I think actually they got more boats than the Coast Guard, believe it or not.
Well, actually, I tell you, I was stationed in the Azores. Weirdest place I was ever stationed. The Navy had the airplanes, the Air Force ran the base, and the Army had the boats.
Back in the mid-90s, they did a big recruiting effort, the Army did. They were stealing a lot of Coast Guardsmen to go drive those things, I'll tell you that.
Ah, okay.
But anyway, yeah, it's a pretty good deal. The Army does some operations here, and they go back and forth to the Caribbean taking equipment, so they just happen to be in the area and help us out. So I thought I would shout out to happy birthday to those guys.
No doubt. You got to give me a little more information, though. So what kind of boats? I know they have troop, landing craft and all that kind of stuff. What kind of boat did they have? What kind of asset did they have out on the ocean the other day?
It was like a transport vessel, I believe is what they do. Is sometimes they bring in some equipment, like some motorized equipment or something from the Caribbean back and forth. And the information I got, it was one of those vessels happened to be in the area, so that's what helped us out.
Outstanding. And what were the seas like? What were the conditions like out there?
Well, it wasn't too bad out there yesterday. It was a couple of feet, but whenever the storms come up, that can double, so it gets up around 6 feet or so, with the weather. That was a pretty strong storm we had come through yesterday, and the winds were blowing 30 to 40 knots, as soon as right in the middle of that storm. So it picked up pretty quick, and all things considered, worked out well.
And it's not a good idea to be out there really on any kind of seas without power on your...
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you got out there and something went wrong. And, of course, it's Friday the 13th, full moon. You can expect those things.
Exactly.
Well, the Coast Guard answered the call, as always. Well, good job there. Now, I know Father's Day is coming up, and you have a push on the website about a number of different things, getting people to be safe out on the water. And you'll talk to us in the audience about the float plan that's important to file. Can you give us a little info on that?
Yes, what you need to do is what you go to, you can actually go to cgaux.org. That's Charlie Golf, Alpha Uniform X-ray.org. You can go on there and there's actually a form page and you can pick up some of those forms and print them off. And what it does is basically if you want to give it to a neighbor or a friend that's not going out with you on the boat, you just file where you're going, how long you plan to be there, where you're leaving from, and what time you expect to be back, so that we have something to go by that in case you don't show up on time or you don't get back to where you're supposed to be at a certain time. That gives us a little, it's kind of like spreading crumbs on a trail. We can follow that trail, and it helps us narrow down our search area so we can help you out if you need it.
And, folks, I downloaded and printed out one of these forms. It says right at the top, float plan. It also says do not, that's an N-O-T, do not file this plan with the U.S. Coast Guard.
Exactly.
But what you mentioned is give it to a family member, a friend, or somebody, one of your fishing buddies that isn't going out with you, because it's a great form. It really is. It's all good information, and like you said, it'll just kind of highlight, if there is a problem, where you guys can start your search, right?
And it gives on there, you want to put the description of the vessel and how many people you're going to have on board, things like that we would be looking for to help us locate you from the air and from the sea.
And just like a private pilot needs to file a flight plan, this is a great idea as a standard practice for people to start doing, just to, increase their chances of survival if something bad happens.
Exactly. And one of the most important things as well is you got to wear your life jacket. And I know people look at them and it's like, why would I want to wear a life jacket? One, I'm going to get a crazy tan. But the life jacket will save lives. I mean, the water out there is, getting close to 80 degrees, and depending on how far you go out, hypothermia will set in. But with that life jacket on, it will actually help you float, and it'll also help with hypothermia because it's around your midsection, and it'll just help you last longer in the water.
And I got to say, one of the neat things about our commander, B. Perry, on the phone with us right now from U.S. Coast Guard Station Port Canaveral, is that even though you've climbed the ranks and you're the commander out there, you still get involved on a regular basis with the missions. And I know this for a fact because you were kind enough to take Kim and I out on clearing the zone for one of the recent launches.
Yeah, that was a great trip. You guys picked a great day to go. It was a beautiful day to be out on the water, and I was actually out on the water last night. Went out and went down Banana River and around the loop and up through by the NASA Causeway, and even though being the commander and you still, it's just like a pilot to relate to some of those folks listening. We still have to maintain our certifications and qualifications, so you still got to do your nighttime, daytime, and get out there and drive the boats. And believe me, I would much rather be out there on the boats than sit behind.
I think we all can appreciate that. Back to the float plan, I just wanted to say, I don't have it any longer, but I used to have a sailboat, and I just want, when right after 9/11, I was docked at the marina at Patrick Air Force Base, and you couldn't even leave the marina unless you had filed a float plan. And I just wanted to say, I bet you would agree with me that the emphasis should yes, definitely be on tomorrow on Father's Day, 'cause there'll probably be a lot of traffic out there, but it should be every time you go out, you should file a float plan.
Yes, sir. Every time you go out, it'd be wise to file that float plan because 90% of the time, 98% of the time, nothing's going to happen. But you want to make sure that those other times when the things happen and it goes bad, just like that guy that was out there doing a little fishing and all of a sudden an engine breaks down and he's stuck in a storm. You want to have that float plan available so we can get to you and we can get to you as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the life jackets, the life preservers. They've fashioned them in such a way now that they're not as big and bulky like the big orange things that you string over your neck. They've got some pretty stylish and, I don't know.
Exactly. You go to West Marine or any of those places or even Walmart or something, you can pick up one for a pretty cheap price. And they also, nowadays they've got the inflatable type that you can't even tell you got on. It just barely goes over your neck and maybe a couple inches wide. but whenever it gets impacted with the water, it'll actually inflate, and that's what you want. You want to have some time to float out there if need be, so we can go get it.
And I didn't set this up, but you mentioned a wonderful and proud sponsor of AVET Project, West Marine. They helped with the fashion show we had last weekend, so yeah, it was fun. And let's just talk about that for a moment, because, and I'm not getting into anything personal here, because anybody that showed up saw your beautiful daughter walk the runway. You got to be proud of her.
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. She did great. All the folks that were out there of all ages did great. That was an awesome event. You guys really put on a good show. She had a blast, and it's credit to you guys for looking at some of the talent in the area. And she came and took a look and got picked up, signed by Posh Modeling, and she's already been doing some jobs. She got a job was working over in Orlando for Redken, the hair manufacturer, our product, and it's just been great for her. It's awesome. We're really happy for her.
Well, it also doesn't hurt that she's just a drop-dead gorgeous teenager.
I was laughing. Some people were coming up talking to me about it at that event, and I said, that's one reason I have to stay in the weight room.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a double-edged sword, I think.
Pound them into dirt if they mess with your daughter. Well, that's cool. Hey, give us some other updates. Anything else happening out there that you can share with us?
There's a big event going on today over at Exploration Tower in the port. There's Cops and Kids Safety Day. We're going to have a boat over there. I'm not sure if we're going to have Levi, our station dog, over there or not, but we will have a boat over there. People can come in, talk to the Coast Guard, get a look at one of our rescue boats. We also have a big, next 2 weeks, we have a big inspection coming up, and all of our reserve folks are going to be in for that. So looking forward to another inspection. In the military, it seems like they're every other week, but so we've been preparing for that. And as you know, we got rockets on the schedule, and we're staying pretty busy. I want to say one thing. My new executive officer, Chief Clamp, just reported in for Senior Chief Marshburn. I know he's been on the show a couple of times. Senior Chief Marshburn's right now going through pre-deployment training. He's up in Portsmouth area right now, and getting ready to go to Saudi Arabia. So our thoughts are out with him, and looking forward to seeing him one last time. He'll be in, I think he's got 2 weeks of training before he departs. So, a lot of people don't know what we're doing over there, but the Coast Guard is overseas as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know how deep you can get into that, but it just gives an idea of how far-reaching your skill sets are needed, by our government to support other governments.
Oh yeah, right now they're over there with the deployment team. We've been over there the last few years trying to set up a kind of based on our Coast Guard, but Saudi Arabia's put together a defense force, kind of a safety force there on the water to secure some of their offshore structures. So we're providing some of our skills to those folks, and that's what he's going to be doing for the next year.
Okay, I was just going to ask, so he's going to be deployed for a year. Folks, this is what we're trying to get out to you. I don't care what branch of service, and even though there may be knuckleheads in the community that don't think the Coast Guard is part of the military, yes, it's under Department of Homeland Security, but believe me, they're deployed right now as we speak all across the globe.
Yes, they are, yep. And for a 35,000 strong workforce and then guarding the coast as well, it's spread pretty thin. We've got a little over around 300 folks that are over there in the box right now, so downrange. So, we've been providing offshore platform security in the Gulf for since hell before it began.
Yeah, exactly. And folks, again, this is your Coast Guard. You just heard the commander state that I would have to just throw out there, you're undermanned. You could use more staffing and I'm sure a whole lot more other assets. So if you folks are interested, give them a website that they can go and look at some of the things that you do.
Yeah, just go to usdg.mil. You can go on there, and when you pull it up, there will be a Coast Guard compass, and you can actually read the history and every battle we've been in, and some of the cool things and the people we have in the service right now that are doing great things throughout the country and the world.
For sure. And folks, I'm just mentioning this because I know he won't and he probably shouldn't. You can make some noise with your politicians, especially in this current climate, to make sure we've got enough funding to support. I mean, what's more important than our borders and our coasts and our waterways, you know?
Right. I saw a story on TV this morning talking about the danger pay that they've taken away a little bit, and that's going to affect Senior Chief Marshburn going over there. So some of the incentives for some of this job, are being affected just by budgetary constraints and things. And I know we've got to give, but in my opinion, as B. Perry, not the commander, I think there's other places they could go for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
well, the danger didn't go away. It makes absolutely no sense to take away the extra pay to go over there and put your life at risk even more than it normally would be.
I totally agree. So, I'm sure there's other fluff somewhere that
Oh, I'm absolutely positive there is.
these guys are breaking their backs and their families. A lot of people look at it, maybe it's only a couple $100 a month, but I can tell you, a couple $100 is huge.
exactly, especially when you got a target on your back no matter where you're deployed, you know? Well, B, I know you've got so many things going on today. We want to just thank you so much again for joining us on American Warrior Radio. And
Thank you very much. Hey, I just want to say one more thing. Remember, active duty and retirees, we do have a Coast Guard exchange on base, and Art over there, come in and see what he's got. He got some great things in a little store, but it packed a big punch, kind of like the Coast Guard itself. right at the Coast Guard station, go in and say hi to Art. Also, you can find some great gift ideas as well as some classes. Safety classes are huge. Go to that same website I told you, cgaux.org. You can put in your zip code and it'll tell you where the closest boating safety class is. And I tell you what, it makes our job a lot easier when we have educated boaters out there.
Well, folks, you still got time to get to the PX over there because Father's Day isn't until tomorrow.
That's right.
B, thanks again for your time, brother, and all your service to our country.
Hey, thanks, Karen and Glenn. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Very good. Again, folks, that's Commander B. Perry of your Coast Guard Station, Port Canaveral, with a bosun's call. And I just want to mention the websites again, cgaux.org. You're going to find all kinds of great information you can use. You can get that float plan there, just all kinds of stuff. And if you're a retiree or active duty, go out there and use the BX. It's just like a satellite branch of the ones on Patrick.
Yeah, and knowing when I go to the Navy ones, they always have a different set of inventory than the Air Force ones do, and so I'm sure the Coast Guard one out there has even a different set of inventory, so it'd be worth a visit out there.
Oh yeah, and that's a very good point. And plus, it's affordable, folks, and let's support those that are helping our troops. I want to throw out there real quick, and I do have another point I want to make about the Coast Guard in general, but Safety Susie will teach you how to swim. All right, Safety Susie and the Coast Guard teamed up with AVET Project last month, which was Water Safety Month. And if you're interested, if you got a small child and they don't have much familiarity with the water, or you're an adult and you want to learn how to swim and save your life, your own life, call her, 321-698-3656. That's 321-698-3656. That's Safety Susie, great gal, big supporter of AVET Project. Glenn, we were talking about budgets and stuff, and Commander Perry was being careful to walk the line. I mean, he said it was coming from him, not as a commander. But you know what? I'm sick of this because, like he mentioned, there's all kinds of room they can cut other places. And this imminent danger issue is something, it's a sore spot for me because I don't care if the president on Wednesday said the world's a much safer place. Obviously, that's not true, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, yeah, and it's just that's of all the crazy cuts that have been made, maybe the craziest of all of them. I mean, you can't say we support our troops and then take away imminent danger pay when you put them into imminent danger. That's duh. That's what the money is for. Come on.
And any place, any location that we deploy troops in that theater, which is the Middle East, okay, I'm talking from Africa all the way up into the sandbox. Let's just be polite here.
Yeah.
those
rock
are
pile in the sandbox.
yeah, those are, I mean, Djibouti, the Horn of North Africa, where we've got all kinds of local military troops deployed. That's an imminent danger area, okay? They don't want us there, and yet we're there to protect their interests as well as ours. And the powers that be up in D.C. decided that, no, they're not eligible for imminent danger pay anymore. And as the commander said, Glenn, I don't care what you hear on the news, folks, our troops are not, quote-unquote, overpaid by any stretch.
Oh, no. I was going to say, and you're starting with a baseline that's low to start with, and then you're going to withhold imminent danger pay. After you put them into imminent danger, I just get on the horn and talk to your elected representatives. Scream at them even. This is crazy.
I want to get into, and again, hoo-ah to the Army. Happy birthday, United States Army. That was kind of cool that they actually participated in a rescue out there with the Coast Guard, with our Coast Guard. Kim and I and our local chapter president, who you'll hear later today on the Laureen Trent Show, of VA Rep, that's Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, just got back from our national policy conference, the very first one. VA Rep is an organization that has, a 5-point master plan, but in essence, and I'll break this down simply because I want to get the word out, and we will have an upcoming episode that features the national president of VA Rep, San Nguyen, but I wanted to just throw this out there real quick because we're coming to a close on this segment. VA Rep is an organization designed specifically to get an increased utilization of the VA Home Loan Guarantee. And I mean, that's big news because, folks, I could read you some numbers here. I want to just, I'm flipping through a brochure. Off the top of my head, there's something like 16.9 million vets that are eligible to use their VA Home Loan Guarantee. Take a guess, Glenn, how many actually use it?
Well, I don't know how many, but I'm going to guess that it's low because of the nature of military service.
Yep, less than 10%. So less than 10% of those men and women that have earned the benefit actually use it. And we'll get into the politics and why the banks try and switch them to FHA and all that jazz at another time. But I want you to go to VA Rep, that's VAREP.net, and check it out. You'll see the local Space Coast chapter and all the other chapters, and there'll be some great information. Don't go anywhere, folks. American Warrior Radio is not even close to being done, all right? We want you to get comfortable, but don't get too comfortable that you nod off or go to the kitchen. Just be back in just a minute because American Warrior Radio is coming right back at you.